So I've been sitting back. I've been watching and observing the NBA and how it's been playing out. And, we can, disregard SGA's little 22 or 26 free throws in a game a couple days ago. We can disregard that. And he didn't have that many free throws this game. But what I find most despicable about Free Throw Alexander's game is not the fact that he actually gets to the free throw line. It's when the foul's not called, the despicable amount of flops that he commits a game where he just falls on the court, he'll trip on the court. And there was a specific play in the third quarter which really threw me off. He drives to the paint and he gets contested and he doesn't get the foul call, and he just throws up it's like he's not even trying for the shot to go in, right? And I was watching, it's insane. The complaint that I have about OKC is I was watching Sabonis, and of course I had to tune into this game because Russell Westbrook, and it's his first start as a Sacramento King. I had to tune in, but it's insane, and I know this is a played out talking point, but it's true. It's insane the amount of defense that OKC is able to play with. And I was watching Sabonis, he's trying to get points in the paint, he's trying to rebound, and he's getting fouled like no other player during this game, and it's just not being called whatsoever. And Lou Dort's literally able to play like a silverback gorilla in the NBA, and it just doesn't get called. I don't understand. This is the most despicable brand of basketball that I've seen. So SGA, we know that SGA's a great player, a phenomenal player. He won MVP for a reason. I'd say he's probably the most lethal player, that, if you leave him open in the mid-range, he's going to hurt you. Okay, nobody's debating that. But it's also horrific to watch him play basketball when he wants a foul. There's no denying that either. What I really want to get into is the Pistons and how they looked absolutely terrible. There's by no means am I overemphasizing that word. Am I trying to be over dramatic? Am I trying to maybe possibly get a rise out of people? No, they looked absolutely garbage. And I got really worried because if you remember the first game of the season, it looked like we were gonna they were gonna repeat what happened. We were down 20 to the Chicago Bulls. We ended up coming back, but we didn't win that game. We won the next game, but now we're in this mess where it's 2-2, and I'm not going to overreact and whatever. There's still, it's only been 4 games. So there's about 78 more to go. So I'm not going to overreact and blow this out of proportion, but man, was this a rough game. Literally everybody in the starting rotation, every single player, was a negative on the court. That's a fact. Every single starting player was a negative on the court. They had negative impact. It didn't look like a basketball team. It didn't look like they came to compete. Jalen Duren looked horrible. He's getting outplayed by Paul Reed. And I don't want to be that guy. I love Jalen Duren. I actually remember it was the game versus the Rockets, and Jalen Duren got ejected, and he held up his jersey. He repped Detroit. He's getting booed out of the building. That's why I love the Pistons team. I love them embracing the whole culture. That's the reason why I really like this team in the first place, is because, that underdog mentality. Being the dogs of the league. That's the reason why I really love this team. And, seeing a player embrace that, holding up the jersey. Isaiah Stewart did it last season. Cade Cunningham, when he hit the game winner over the Miami Heat and won the game, holding up his jersey, embracing that. I really like that. Jalen Duren, there's no denying that he's all in on this team. Nobody's denying Jalen Duren and wanting to play for the Detroit Pistons. But what I would question is, do the Detroit Pistons really, if they look at it long term and they go, do we want Jalen Duren playing for this franchise for the next 10 years? If I'm looking at it logistically, I'm looking possibly, if I'm in a position of power for the Detroit Pistons and their franchise, and I'm going, listen, Can we win a championship with Cade Cunningham? 100%. That's not even a question. Does anybody question that? Is it possible for the Detroit Pistons to win a championship with Cade Cunningham starting on the team? 100% not a question. Then you go down the list and you go, is it possible for them to win a championship, with Isaiah Stewart and him being a backup center off the bench? Okay, yeah, I think that's possible. So I don't think we would trade those players. And then you keep going down the list. Asar Thompson, 100%. But then you get to Jalen Duren and then you kind of start having questions. Now you start having questions. Is Jalen Duren the starting center that can help Detroit get to the championship? Can he help the Pistons acquire a championship? If they had to match up against the Milwaukee Bucks in the Eastern Conference Finals, do you think that he's going to hold his own weight compared to a Giannis Antetokounmpo? And they just got a Miles Turner, for example. So I'm looking, and if I'm Detroit, and yes, I know Jalen Duren is a great player, but he could be valuable in trade. He could be valuable in a trade asset. That's all I'm saying. I don't think for the next 10 years with him, and I know him and Cade have tremendous chemistry, but at the end of the day, it's a business. And you gotta question it. Do you value friendships over championships, or do you value winning championships over friendships? It's not like your friendship's gonna leave. You can always stay in contact with each other. But I'm looking, listen, is Jalen Duren, and how long is it going to take? How long is it going to take for him to develop into a solid top 10 center in the NBA? Because that's really what you need at the end of the day to win a championship. You need a solid, at least top 15 center in the NBA. That's what OKC had last season. So I'm looking at Jalen Duren and I'm like, okay, maybe he could be valuable to trade, because how long is it going to take for him to develop? If Detroit goes to the draft, all I know is that they need a draft. They're not going to get a top 3 pick. We know that. It doesn't matter. If they, the highest pick that we're going to get in the next draft, let's just say realistically is going to be pick number 5, right? Nobody's questioning that. And let's just say we get a top 20, top 15, we get a lottery pick, whatever, or we fall within that top 20 category. We got to get Ian Jackson. No holds barred, no nothing. Ian Jackson would fit in seamlessly with this group. He reminds me of Ron Holland, actually. He reminds me a lot of Ron Holland. I think we need more players that are going to be all in on this team, that can shoot the ball, that can defend, and that can, that are 3-way scorers. They can pass, shoot,